All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm really excited about this deep dive. We're going to be looking at sleep paralysis,
Oh, yeah.
specifically someone's personal account of it online. And
Uh-huh.
I don't know about you, but I find this stuff to be super fascinating and a little bit creepy.
Yeah.
So, for anyone who's not familiar with it, sleep paralysis is basically that feeling of being conscious but unable to move.
Right.
And I think most people have probably had some sort of experience like that, at least, once or twice in their lives.
Yeah.
Maybe when you're just waking up or falling asleep.
Exactly. It's that in-between state, and it can be really unsettling.
Yeah, it's like your mind is awake,
Mm-hmm.
but your body's still asleep.
Yeah.
And that disconnect can just be so strange.
Yeah. And it can lead to some really vivid hallucinations because your brain's kind of stuck between REM sleep where you dream
Right.
and that waking state. So you might see things or hear things that aren't actually there.
Okay, so let's jump into the actual account. This person, they say they've dealt with sleep paralysis before,
Mm.
but this one night was particularly bad.
Mm.
So they're lying in bed and they start feeling like someone's come into the room and is hugging them,
Mm-hmm.
but not a nice hug.
Oh.
Like a really tight, constricting hug, almost painful.
Wow.
And then they hear growling,
Yeah.
like right in their ear.
Oh, that's scary. Yeah, I mean, the growling sound, that's a pretty common auditory hallucination. But the hugging, the physical sensation of touch being so strong, that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not just like they saw something scary. It's like they actually felt it.
Right. And that really highlights how powerful these hallucinations can be. I mean, during sleep paralysis, your brain can misinterpret signals from your body,
Oh.
especially sensations of pressure or touch.
Hmm.
So what you might normally experience as a light touch or even just the weight of your blankets,
Right.
it gets amplified, it gets distorted into something much more intense.
So it's like your brain is basically taking normal sensations and then turning them into something terrifying. But why is it always so negative? Like, why growling? Why a painful hug?
Well, there are theories that link these negative experiences back to our evolutionary past, you know?
Okay.
So if you think about it, waking up in a cave,
Yep.
unable to move, feeling a presence,
Right.
it makes sense that our ancestors who interpreted that as danger, they were more likely to survive, right?
Yeah.
Like if it was a predator or something. So maybe those primal fear responses, they've just kind of become hardwired into how we experience sleep paralysis.
So it's like an ancient defense mechanism
Possibly.
that's kind of backfiring now in our modern world.
That's one way to look at it, yeah.
But I'm still stuck on the specifics here, like the hug. Is there any significance to that, or is it just a random detail?
You know, it's hard to say for sure with any individual experience,
Okay.
but the feeling of being held down or constricted, it does seem to be a pretty common theme in sleep paralysis. It comes up a lot in reports and stories.
Right.
And again, it could tie back to that feeling of being trapped,
What?
which would have been a real threat in the past.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what's also interesting is that this person, they still experience sleep paralysis,
Mm.
but they haven't had a repeat of that exact episode with the hug and the growling.
Right.
It's like it was a one-time thing,
Yeah.
which is kind of strange.
But that actually speaks to the variability of sleep paralysis. It's not a one-size-fits-all experience. Some people might have really mild episodes where it's just a feeling of pressure.
Right.
Others might have these really vivid, terrifying hallucinations.
So there's like a whole spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. And we're still researching why that is, what causes those differences. But it seems like things like personal anxieties,
Okay.
cultural beliefs, even past experiences, they can all play a role.
So it's not just a neurological glitch.
Not entirely.
It's also very much connected to our individual psychology.
Absolutely.
This almost reminds me of folklore.
Hmm.
You know those stories about creatures that sit on your chest at night?
Yeah. Isn't it fascinating how those cultural narratives often mirror the actual sensations that people describe?
Yeah, it's like those stories came from somewhere.
Right. And I think it shows how these experiences, even though they're happening inside our minds, they can really impact how we understand the world.
Right. So basically, we're dealing with this complex mix of physiology and psychology. It's a reminder that our brains can be super active
Yeah.
even when our bodies are at rest.
Yeah.
And sometimes that leads to these bizarre and often scary experiences.
Right.
And it makes you wonder if something like sleep paralysis can make us question our own reality.
Exactly.
What other aspects of our waking lives might be influenced by things we don't even fully understand?
It's a good question to think about. And I think it's
Yeah.
one that we might not have an answer to for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's definitely something to ponder. Thanks for taking this deep dive with me.
Of course. Always happy to explore these weird corners of the mind.
And for everyone listening, thanks for joining us. Until next time.
See.
Bye.